Hey guys, if you don't have a seatbelt on for this call you're about to listen to, you better have one. Yes, buckle up. It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be rocky. This lady is absolutely insane. Now, the backstory of these guys is this is a property we already own. We already closed on it. It was a pre-foreclosure property. We stopped the auction, postponed it, and then took care of the arrears, and we ended up closing on it. But within that time frame that we had the seller under contract up to the time of closing, oh my gosh, this is a lady that is absolutely insane, and she ended up even being worse after we closed. But we own the property now, everything is okay. But on this call, the context is this, guys. The lady, this is allegedly a lady that took advantage of her sugar daddy, had him buy a brand new property in Snellville, Georgia, and then she put a tenant inside that property after the split, right? And that tenant ended up paying a deposit, and then they're paying on a monthly basis. But instead of paying the mortgage, what she did is she took the money and went to Thailand or wherever she went and got herself a new body, everything, boom boom, everything. All right, that's where we're starting. So that is that kind of lady. Two, every single week she wanted to find an excuse to get out of the contract that we had. She always have something like, I just got a revelation from Jesus. She called one of my partners, Steve, on the phone at 3 a.m. talking about, she just got a revelation about this, about that, whatever. And then, she told us all this nasty stuff about her tenant. And then we're like, you know what? We're problem solvers. How about you forget about the tenant? Let us talk to the tenant. Let us deal with the tenant, because from our understanding, the tenants didn't want to move out and they're paying too low. They're supposed to be paying more on a monthly basis, blah, 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 blah. When we ended up talking with the tenant, the story was completely different, right? The tenants were like, listen, we started getting letters here. We were confused. So we stopped paying her because obviously we realized that the property is facing auction. Now we're going to have to move out. The tenant also, guys, ended up being worse than the seller, both claiming to be, he's claiming to be a man of God, she's claiming to be a woman of God. And they're both, I don't know who's the worst liar. Okay, I don't know who's the worst liar. She took advantage of her sugar daddy. Now she's moving into a brand new built home with her new boyfriend, so that's the reason why she's selling this property, because her sugar daddy is too old and he was supposed to come from New York, all these like complications. But when we went to talk to the tenants on her behalf and say, let us take over the problem with the tenant, let us just deal with it, right? So we went to talk to the tenant just to tell the tenant, hey, listen, we're here for you. We're going to help you transition to the next chapter of your life. We're going to even give you like 30 to 60 days in the back end. And then we also wanted to hear their side of the story, because it was getting too complicated to close. But when we went there, it was like a pity party. The tenant cried and told us about all these people took advantage of him and his family before he got into this property, and now this is happening. Why him? Why him? Why him? God, why him? He cried literally in front of us and prayed in front of us. All right. But he ended up being, guys, we own this property now and we're evicting this guy end of July. He didn't keep none of his word. He was a pathological liar as well. So he's a rocky one. So, but the context here is we went and talked to the tenant, and then we only talk to the tenant like professionally. We're telling them, hey, we're buying the property. We have no plans on keeping this property as a long-term rental. We plan on turning it as a midterm. This is in Georgia, Snellville. And so even though we're going to give you, time to move out, like 30 to 60 days after we close, and then we're going to negotiate with the seller to where the cash we're giving them at the close of escrow, they leave some cash at closing for you, right? So you don't have to pay the next like 2 months, for example, because all the other money you gave them is gone, right? We have nothing to do with that. She already ate it, use it to get a new body. Okay. We agreed to that. We agreed to that, kept our word, closed on it, and guess what? Not responsive, don't want to move anymore. Now he has new pity party story. Everything he told was a lie. So it's a bunch of shit show. But regardless, this is part of the game. We still own the property. We're getting rid of them end of July here, and then after that we're going to turn it into a great, the location is fantastic. But guys, buckle up, buckle up, buckle up, enjoy the call.
Um, I just was made aware of a lot of things that's going on with this contract, and I'm not happy about it at all. I'm really not happy with the whole 9 yards from the beginning up until now, and the back and forth with Maria, then the communication that was portrayed to Stephen, then back to my tenants, then back to Maria, then inconveniencing Mr. Fortune coming out here. It just has been all hell, and a horrific experience throughout this whole ordeal.
You may have to catch me up to speed on what I'm missing exactly, because I'm not aware of none of it. What's wrong with the contract?
Every from the beginning, from like I said in the very beginning, I have proof of my payments that I was sending to Mr. Fortune. Unfortunately, Mr. Fortune fell at home, hit his head. Then he had his nephew to start taking over his financial part and whatever else of his, needs that he needed as far as shopping and everything. It has kind of placed Mr. Fortune not in a way where he's back at his norm. He fell in and hit his head. As of today, he's having surgery for that. That's why all of this kind of made me upset, how I inconvenienced him. I even stated I would show the proof of the payments that I was wiring to him. Now, to go back and tell my tenants something different on you guys' part, where I just found out, that was totally inappropriate.
What did we tell your tenants?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
I'm just taking you from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I never lied. I stayed transparent. Everything that was needed from me, I given. I have no reason to lie. I'm 47 years old and I don't deal with business like that. I'm very super smart and I'm not naive in a lot of places. I may need to be explained certain things, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, we know that.
Number one, I explained to Stephen why I'm in this situation now. Number two, I explained to Stephen about my tenants just moving there and how I had a great relationship with them. To go back to tell my tenants that I refused to pay them any move out money was totally inappropriate.
Okay, first and foremost, Mrs. Tanya, that's an accusatory term. We've never told him that.
Please let me finish. I just spoke to my tenants today because I stated that I was not going to contact them throughout this process because Stephen said they had a lot of stuff, a lot of things going on that I particularly wasn't aware of, and just became a brought up, medical condition. And it wasn't his wife that he was living with currently that was in a hospital. It was his ex-wife that was in a hospital and not his current wife that he's residing with. Moving forward, I never stated that they were going to destroy my furniture for that to keep being said by Stephen. I don't know why.
No, Stephen, hold on.
I never stated that. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out what I have to say, or I'm going to end the call.
No, get it out. You can talk all the time.
So with that said, I never stated that. Stephen consistently kept saying, they have not destroyed your property. I never even stated that. To keep saying that, I don't even know where he was getting that from. He kept putting that in his mouth as if someone was listening to him, as if I was saying that over the phone. Number two, to go over there to talk to my tenants, to try to stir up mayhem or to smother my name about me was totally inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. I never stated that I refused to give them any money. That is a lie. I never stated that. That is what my tenants just told me today. I contacted them because I felt something in my spirit was wrong about this whole deal. So I got down to the bottom of it, and now I'm aware about every single thing that is going on. So number two, I have proof of my payments. Number two, about my tenants, it was lied to them. All of the shenanigans or whatever what was stated, which was not fair because I wasn't there to defend myself and to say I prefer to go get my hair done, was totally inappropriate for that to be said to them when you guys went down there. I asked Stephen and said, should I go to be present when you guys go there? I have a hair appointment. Go ahead to your hair appointment. We'll take care of this because me and Mamadou is going to go speak to the tenants. That's what was said to me.
Okay.
Number three, all of this inconsistency, I inconvenienced Mr. Fortune to come down here knowing the condition he's in. Had his nephew drive him down here. Then, for some reason, I don't know if Maria emailed him and said the closing would take place. All of us would be mobile to her office, and he thought the closing, we were going to come out to Savannah, Maria, the title company, you, and all of us. That's the way how his email came apart from him. Then having the notary come to my house, and then no, she's not going to go there, go to Mr. Fortune, all of these inaccurate things. And I'm not supposed to get upset. I'm livid right now because it's continuous.
Are you saying that Maria is the one that told you Mrs. Fortune have to come to Atlanta for the closing?
No, I asked Mr. Fortune because I know him. I asked Mr. Fortune. He was going to come out here anyways.
Okay.
He was supposed to come out here anyways to come pick up his sister. He has to pass. It didn't matter for him, regardless of this whole ordeal. His whole plan was to come out this way anyway. He had friends and family that stay in Savannah, so that was on his schedule for 2 months ago, prior to me even meeting you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it just fell into convenience for Mr. Fortune to come at that time.
Okay.
So to make a long story short, yes, it inconvenienced him twice. It inconvenienced him twice because the way how Maria told him that we're all going to do the closing and we're all going to mobile to come to him. And that's what he thought. Okay. But to make a long story short, all the ripping and running around, she had to go to him. She came to me. She had to go to him. He had to come back to do it. It's just all over the place. And who would not naturally, as a human being, be annoyed? Because everyone has their personal lives, their personal jobs, and their personal responsibilities.
Absolutely.
And I was not prepared for my house again to go in foreclosure or even to be auctioned when I primarily for the last 4 years been sending my payments to Mr. Fortune for him to deposit it. And unfortunately, because his nephew became financially responsible over his things, he was mishandling his money. Okay, that's here and there. That's why I'm in the situation I'm in. Not because of irresponsibility, not because I'm naive or anything of that matter. I did not move my tenants into my home when I was aware of foreclosure. I can't even advertise on Zillow if my house is in foreclosure.
Okay.
So to tell them anything of small and in that matter, that is the understatement, and that was a lie.
Okay.
Number 4, all the inconvenience, we're gonna close. I took off from work, not once, not twice, but a third time. Then I got written up at work. Then I missed my cousin's funeral, who's only 22. I'm sitting up here inconveniencing my whole household because all of this is on hold. Every day is supposed to be a closing. Every day is supposed to be this. And then the next day is the LLC. Then the next day, clearly you guys are doing investment shopping to see if anybody else can buy out my contract. You guys have no means of buying a house. And you guys have totally disrupted my life with all of this drama.
Okay.
I am not happy in this whole situation. You guys have really manipulated, dismantled, and disrupted my whole entire life. It stressed me super out. It's messing up my personal with my job because I've taken off just to make sure that I can be able to be accessible when you guys needed me to be accessible, to sign documents or to be in compliance with Mr. Fortune and call this and call. Many times I was at work. I had to literally step out from work to get on the phone with Steven to call the mortgage company, to do this, to request this from home, to get on the phone back and forth. I have been nothing but transparent and honest. And I don't know why the heck you guys choose me to try to play me and downball me in this whole situation, knowing that half of the things you guys stated was not even true.
Okay.
And if you guys were shopping for another investor to buy out the contract, you should have been honest and stated that. One thing I'm not is a fool. And one thing I'm not going to allow is anyone to play me. I'm not the person that I'm allowed to play.
Okay.
So at this point, because I'm very disappointed with all of these behaviors and these characters, really put a bad taste in my mouth with you guys. I don't trust you guys moving forward at all. Every day is something different. Every single day. And should I be pissed off? Yes, I should be pissed off. All these different inadequacies that I listed, yes, I should be pissed off. Anybody would.
100%.
Now I'm sitting up here dysfunctioning my whole household. Now it's affecting my relationship because I got an attitude. I can't sleep at night. This and that is inadequate. I'm putting off plans. We're supposed to go on vacation. Can't go fly down to my cousin's funeral. All of this. Every day I'm putting off something to convenience with Stephen or with Maria or this whole ordeal. Every day. This has affected my life. It's not affecting yours, Mamadou. It's not affecting Stephen. You guys go home and sleep well. I'm the one that's left with the shithole and still lingering around trying to figure out what's the next step. There's no next step. And it's fucking frustrating, excuse my French. It is.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I think I would be more, if I was in your shoes, I would probably be more pissed than you are right now. But I'm going to let you finish before I chime in. So let me know whenever I can.
You guys don't really know how this affected me from the time you guys knocked on my door to the time that I said I will trust you with this issue. And all it has been is hell breaking loose on every end. No consistency. And it's starting to affect my personal life. Not even to do with the property, but it's affecting now my home, my relationship, my children.
Absolutely.
I'm putting everybody on hold. I don't want to answer a phone. I'm forgetting stuff at work because this shit has stressed me the hell out. Now there's decharacterizing me as a different person. Before I let it continue to get this way, I just rather call off on everything. This doesn't make no more sense to me. Just like you said, whatever makes sense to you, you're not going to do it if it doesn't make any sense. It has to be feasible for your future. The same thing, this is not good for nobody else.
Absolutely.
I'm 47 now. I don't even stress like this. Last time I stressed like this when I was in my early 20s. Now I'm picking up stress that I already had time to manage. And you guys I've been super stressed. And it's affecting my household and my personal life and my work ethic at work. I cannot function as a nurse going to work stressed out with this bullcrap. It is not safe for even my patient.
Absolutely. So
I don't know what the next day gonna bring.
All right. Can I chime in, Ms. Sam?
Yes, I'm finished.
So listen, first of all, I completely understand. If I were you, I would probably cuss everybody out and call it a day too. That's one. Secondly, it seems like there is a lot of things here involved that me personally, I wasn't aware of. That's one. A lot of miscommunication, okay, which I'm going to clarify right now. Okay. First and first, whoever told you that, even though Mrs. Fortune was supposed to come here, if Maria did email you of anything that we need to be with him, that's her fault. I can deal with her because any title company can send a notary to wherever you are in the United States. You can be in how do you call it?
Not to cut you off, he decided he wanted to.
No, I understand. I'm just saying.
Sister Shell was the one that closed at Paul. She came with with Nicole Ambrose. She's one of the big realtors out here.
Right.
So Trishelle came with Nicole Ambrose and closed
Mm-hmm.
at when we first purchased the house in September. So Mr. Fortune
Mm-hmm.
preferred, he's older. He prefers to deal with continuity, and that's
Absolutely.
how older people are.
Absolutely.
And he said, I gotta come pick up my sister. I haven't seen you for a while. It was more on a personal continuity thing, wanting to see me. He
Right.
had to drive this way, and it
Right.
all fell in hand for him to come around this time, because his thing is he felt bad
Mm-hmm.
that I'm in a situation because of his nephew. So he felt like anything that he could do
Mm-hmm.
to help,
Mm-hmm.
he would do it no matter what medical situation he was in. That is
Absolutely.
his part.
Absolutely. And I understand that. But what I mean is, once he was here, let's say he was stuck, which I've done before. Let's say he was stuck in a highway. The title company, they're required, and they can't send a notary at that highway and send you a different notary. They don't have to have everybody in one room. Now, I understand why he came here. It was more personal. I'm just saying there was no need at all to say, no, everybody have to be in the same place, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if...
That's the email she sent.
No, okay. So if you don't mind, by the way, I would love to get that, because here's the thing. I'm bringing them a lot of business. And this is not just you. Like the file we just closed on, which is on, I think is on Winter Circle, if I'm not mistaken. They did that same mistake with the seller where it's not Maria, but another girl, another Miranda. She called the seller. So we wire funds in. We wire about 56,600. Now, as you know, sometimes wires can get a delay, so the money hit next day. But in the meantime, I send my own personal funds, and she calls the lady and tell her, hey, we haven't gotten the funds yet, before even checking for the wire. And so the seller calls and think that we were going to let their property go to foreclosure because of a 16,200. I said, no, I already sent my personal funds to stop the auction. So she didn't check before she called you. So Maria must have done the same thing, which they know already. As a title company, so me personally, the only reason I drive to that office is because of the owner of the office, which is Melanie. I have a relationship with her. That's the only reason. Otherwise, all notaries come to me for any closing I do. I do a lot of real estate, even in Texas. I don't move a finger. I don't leave my office. The notaries come to my office at my convenience. That's what a title company is supposed to do. So if your ex, he came here and it doesn't matter where he is, doesn't matter where you guys are, they're supposed to send a notary to come to you at your convenience, not their convenience. So that email, I would love to see. That's number one. Number two, everything else I already understand in terms of the situation. I know it's not that on purpose you fell behind or wanted to put the tenant in a situation. I can tell you right now in front of God and Mrs. Tanya, one thing I don't do is gossip. I do not gossip. So I can put you on the phone right now with the tenant. The tenant cannot repeat in front of you that I told him this. I've never went there and talked to him about you or your ex on any personal level. He told us things that he didn't want you to hear of what he's going through personally, cried in front of us and talked to us about how he got into the property, all the problems he's going through, blah, blah, blah. We went there trying to help him to get his next place, not to talk about you, not once. So if he says that, then I want to sit down with you and him. His wife wasn't there. I've never talked to his wife. She wasn't there, not once. I've never been on a call with her. Every single time I've spoke to Travis, it was Travis and Travis alone.
And that's who I even told Steven I don't have a good relationship with his wife because she's all over the place and not responsive. I decided to start dealing with Travis 1 month after they moved in. So his wife told me today of her conversation that Travis had with you guys and told her, and now that's what she's telling me.
Well, here's the issue with that. For me, because that's easily solvable. We can sit all three on the same table or all four. I've never spoken to his wife. I've never seen her. I only spoke to Travis. Now, Travis told us a lot of things that he didn't want you to hear from his personal life. So I'm not going to disclose it here. You told us a lot of things that we want.
Yeah, he already told me about this.
Okay, great. No, here's what I mean, Mrs. Tanya, is that you also, we spoke privately without him. I didn't go there and start repeating what you told me. I don't do that. I don't gossip. I have no time for gossip. And everybody in my circle know I don't do gossip. But I went to him as a man to show him that, hey, if I shake your hands and I say I will help you find your next place, as the new owner, I will not put you and your family on the street. I want you to know that I will keep my promise. If it takes you 2 months, if it takes you 4 months, I will give you the time necessary to find your next place and talk about that solution. Then I listened to his family situations. Then he told me a little bit about you guys' situation and certain things that he feel like it wasn't right that was done to him by you, which I'm not going to disclose here. It's up to him to tell you. You can ask Stephen. I told him in front of Stephen, I said, why don't you call her and have that conversation? That's not my place. I told him this is what I told him, Mrs. Tanya. I said, listen, I'm in a very difficult situation. Why? Because I have to make both an emotional and a logical decision here. The emotional one is I got to take into consideration what Mrs. Tanya is going through, because nobody just wakes up in the morning and let their house go to foreclosure. There has to be something she's going through personally. That's one.
I did all that work in my house.
Right.
Do you guys honestly really think I planned on?
No, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, Mrs. Tanya. This is exactly what I told him. No seller out here that is going through foreclosure woke up and said, let my house go to foreclosure. Nobody does that. And also, here's what I'm telling you, and I will repeat that in front of him. We can sit down all three. We've never told him that. Not me, not Steven, because I was there. Steve was there at least when we went in face to face. Steve never told him anything negative about you, nor can he repeat that in front of me, because he keeps claiming he's a man of God. So if he told you that, that means he was lying about being a man of God. None of us told him anything negative about you, but we did sympathize about the situation he's going through and him crying about moving out, and also him feeling like he was disappointed by certain promises that was made when he got into the property. He spoke about the story, which I'm not going to disclose here. That's up to him to come to you and tell you that. I'm just letting you know that me and Steven never went there and said anything negative about you. I went there to make a very logical and emotional decision. Here's what I told him. I said, listen, I understand your situation, which is super, super sad. Honestly, I had tears in my eyes with his story. And I also understand your situation, Mrs. Tanya. This is what I told him. I said, but at the end of the day, I have to make...
Mamadou, it's only common sense. You can tell my house was an Airbnb. What other stipulation I could have?
No, I'm not talking about misstipulations on the rental. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that he feels like, so one, for him, he was going to be here forever. That's number one. Number two, according to him, he's been getting letters that is notifying him that this house is in foreclosure, and you kept denying it.
And he never told me.
No, I understand, but you see the difficulty that I'm in, because I have to listen to him and sympathize, because here's what happened, Mrs. Tanya, when you buy a home with a tenant in place. If we go in and start acting all, we're the new people, just guess what they do? They start paying and they don't want to move out. I don't want to go through that situation. I'm bringing $85,000 to the table. I don't want to go through that. So I have to sympathize with his situation and sympathize with yours, which, like I said, in front of God, I told him straight up. I said, listen to me. I have to make both emotional and a logical decision here. I have to understand Mrs. Tanya's position and situation, and I have to understand yours. And whatever you guys spoke, or whatever text messages you said she sent you, or whatever understandings that she went through with your wife, you guys have to deal with that. It's not easy for me to see, because I don't know anything. You understand? Like, I wasn't there. So what I told him is this, Mrs. Tanya. I said, listen to me. Me, Mamadou, I guarantee you, if I take over this house, I'll give you the however months you need to move out. And then I said, I went back and spoke to Mrs. Tanya, and we convinced her to leave $3,000 in escrow for you, plus the $2,000 of this month you don't have to pay, which is $5,000 to help you out. That's the best I could do. This is exactly my terms that I told him, exactly the words that I used. Now, did I listen to him? Absolutely. He went on about everything, his family, what happened between you two, things that maybe you told him, he feel like you didn't keep your promise, blah, blah, blah. But that's between you guys. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm here to go, you know what? I'm buying a home. I'm bringing 85. Yes, Mrs. Tanya is going through a difficulty, but you also, and here's what I swear to God, Mrs. Tanya, if I could keep this guy inside, based on the story that he told me, I would, but financially, I told him it doesn't make sense. Because if I bring $85,000 to the table and I'm only making $2,000 a month, and after the mortgage, I'm cash flowing $500, the cash on cash return doesn't make sense. And I have a responsibility in front of God also to my financial investor. I'm bringing a financial investor in here and they expect a certain return. So I also have to take that into consideration. So I said, if it wasn't because of the amount of cash, I don't mind leaving you in as a tenant. It's not a problem as long as you're paying on time. But I told him the $2,000 a month wouldn't work. That's the only reason why I'm having him move out.
Can I stop you there?
Absolutely.
And I finish. Even I spoke to Stephen, and Stephen can tell you the truth. I told him, I said, Stephen, if you go on Zillow, if you go on Airbnb, you'll see how much my place was, or you can see I had it on Airbnb. On Zillow, my place was for $2,600 a month with furnished. I had no reason to take all of that furniture off and let it sit in storage for a whole year. That ever would make, that wouldn't even make sense, Mamadou.
Right, absolutely, it wouldn't make sense.
That brand new furniture, it would not make no type of sense.
Absolutely.
For me to take my furniture out, accept $2,000 a month, and put it in store, and plus pay for storage, and pay my house note,
right,
and HOA and property taxes. That to me, that wouldn't even make sense.
Yes.
And I told them, I said, he cried the same story that he cried to you about, except the cancer part. That is what got me.
Okay.
That is what made me wind up saying, you know what, just do it for $2,000 a month. You guys are already here, but you guys told me that you were guys gonna put half of my furniture in storage for me while I was having surgery. That was the thing, and everything went up in the air, or however. No furniture was put in storage. Only furniture that was put in storage was 2 twin beds that was in the right room once you go upstairs.
Which that one was yours, right? Those are your furniture, right?
That is my furniture, 2 twins, that because more beds with an Airbnb, you get more clients.
Right.
So I have bought the 2 brand new twin beds to put in one of the rooms to make additional beds, because the first thing clients will actually, how many beds do you have? That is their thing, to accommodate 14, 12, or 10 majority of the time for that Airbnb. But to make a long story short, as I'm telling you this story, this is the first thing that I told them in July.
Okay.
I have not changed. They can sit here and say this, that, and the other. He played the same pity party with me, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being real. And that is the reason why I nonchalant it and was like, just go ahead and give me the 200. You're going through a lot. I mean, the 2,000. You're going through a lot. Actually, I'm giving you guys my furniture where the Zillow ad, because Travis said he never looked at the ad. Leslie was the one that contacted me. Leslie was the one that did everything. The only time he's seen it when he came on the premises. That was the only time. So with this back and forth, who's a liar, who's that, I'm not on the phone for that, but I'm telling you, Mamadou, once you get to know me, I'm very transparent. Anything I say today, I can tell you I said the same thing 5-7 years ago. I don't need to lie. That's not how I build my character.
That's what I'm saying too. That's what I'm saying too, Mrs. Stanley.
You can look at the situation, Mamadou and Stephen, and ask yourself what communication failed here for them to get all this furniture and only pay $2,000 a month.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But you see, that's what I'm saying. You see, the difficulty for me is, like I said, like I told him, and I will tell you, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm here to understand. But at the end of the day, if he has a problem with you and he feels like you did anything wrong, he should communicate it to you, because I wasn't there, right? But I can only hear him.
The house house, I didn't do anything wrong, but now.
No, I understand, but
Now he gotta move. It's the issue with me.
exactly,
That's my thing.
but you see why it's because here's what am I trying to do, Mrs. Tenney? I'm trying to make it a smooth transaction to where he move out and we don't have to evict or go through some, that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I heard him out. I didn't judge. I didn't say you were wrong. I did because what's gonna happen is now everybody's gonna start getting angry, and guess what? Okay, I'm not gonna pay. I have my 6 months still. I have a lease that is still 6 months, and I'm just gonna stay. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying we can't kick him out, but now it's just more headaches for nothing. So what I focused on is, hey, I don't mind keeping you in, give you the time necessary. We can even help you find the next place. We have houses that we own. You can even go into that are vacant right now if you want to. He said, no, he want to stay in that neighborhood. The owner of the property right behind your fence, apparently want to rent to him, right? But everything else, as far as like what he told me, what you did to him, or even his wife, things that went wrong with you guys, I just heard him. I didn't judge. I didn't say it's true or it's false because I wasn't there. Right?
The same question should have been, have you spoke to Tiny about how you feel?
But I asked him that. He said he doesn't want to talk to you. He feel like he was how do you call it? He was taken advantage of, so he doesn't want to talk to you. Even this morning, he called Steve and said he doesn't want to talk to you. You understand? But that's not he's an adult. I did tell him, I said, listen, all this other stuff, even with the 3,000, here's what I told him, Mrs. Tanya. I said, you live in 3,000, you already told him not to pay this month, so that's 5, right? I said, if he want.
No one told me that. I decided that on my.
No, I understand, but I said that's what is going to happen. But this is what I told him. I said, if you feel like you deserve anything extra, then you have to talk to her because I can't do that. You understand what I'm saying? Here's my point. Also, is I'm just hearing this guy out because I want a smooth transition. I want him to move out, not be a squatter in the property and say, no, now I'm not moving out because I feel like I got done this, done that. And now everybody just got to go to court for some stupid stuff. So I'm not there to judge anybody. But what I'm also re-stretching out is nobody went there and said anything wrong about you. Why would I don't know you personally to tell him anything about you. We heard his side of the story. Exactly. No, I understand.
So I don't know their character. I know
absolutely.
My character. I know my loyalty. I know my honesty. The way how they want to. At the end of the day, I just want them to comply. Whatever has to go through.
Right.
Whatever has to take apart. I
right.
did tell. First of all, just to sum it up, and I'm gonna move on from this. Because it's not even no more important. It is what it is. He say, she say, he say. At the end of the day, I am the owner for the property as of now. That will soon change. But I don't do business primarily with no one. I'm a nurse. I can't even lie to patients and say, oh, this is not going to hurt or this doesn't have side effects. My whole life is built on my character being straightforward. I always been like that. It wasn't taught to me. That's always been my character, and I'm not going to change.
Well,
going on 40.
That's the energy you gave me when I met you. But let's all agree. All I'm pointing out here is I said we didn't say the things you're saying we said to him, and I'm willing to repeat that in front of him. I'm trying to make you because I understand your position, but you got to understand mine too. I'm in the middle of a situation that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
This party is telling me this. No, right. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, let me ask you.
Do anything with me?
Exactly. That's my point.
Even I told him, I said, when you rent, you're always are not going to be secure unless you own your own shit.
100%, 100%, 100%.
If a husband and wife, or a wife dies, the husband dies, therefore you pay the risk of moving abruptly than you ever planned.
100%. Listen,
I'm gonna keep that house forever.
Listen,
I never stated that because I can't give nobody that promise.
100%. I mean, you cannot have guarantee as a tenant. If you want guarantee, you gotta buy. It's funny.
Their credit. I'm selling the house 3 years from now. That's what I told them.
Okay.
I never even said anything of that matter.
Okay.
Moving moving forward, I cannot, their personal stuff they got going on is not my business. And I'm not sure, because if I sit up here and feel sorry for everybody I come in contact with, I would not.
Yeah, then you're running a charity. Listen, we own rentals, so I understand that. I'll give you, like, I have my neighbor here on the right?
I was much flexible, Mamadou, to let them be there with my furniture there. And they knew that it was an Airbnb. They knew that they were supposed to only rent it for 3 months. I've been super flexible, bending my rules, and that's why they always say, whatever you start with, just like I told you when we were out at Humidor, the cigar lot, I said, do not change who you are, Mamadou, because once you become nice for one person, it destroys the whole
100%. 100%.
Stay who you are. Don't
100%.
be the rule for one person just to convince them. You'll find yourself changing for everybody. Then you'll become with schizophrenic.
100%.
Something like that. You can't do that.
100%.
Be who you are. That's what got you this far. You never change. Don't change. Maybe mold certain areas, but don't change for one person.
100% agree.
I did with them. I shouldn't have fit my rule with them. It should have been straightforward. 2,600, 3 months, just like I said on
right,
Pillow.
Right, 100%.
And because I bit my rule, moving forward, this is the results that you can do when you start feeling sorry for people and they start crying to you about their personal, and that's exactly what I did for them.
Well,
so,
that's what No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I this is why I take things with a grain of salt, even though I don't judge, because I went through this where tenants give me a sweet story. I have, you know what a lease option is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a Romanian family like that I gave my house to because he sold me to the story of buying his dream home for his family, blah, 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 blah. I gave it to him, bought into the story. We agreed on a monthly payment. Everything went smoothly for 4 months. After 4 months, it was like a different person. Different person, tenants inside the house, not his family. He's not even living in it. Complete bullshit, right? I had to foreclose and take the house back. So I'm used to this. But my thing is also, I got to remain, like you said, right? I understand at the end of the day, there's a lot of emotions involved, but when you're making financial decisions, sometimes you want to bring logic to the table. So I'm still running a business, not a charity. So this is the reason why, even though he cried in front of me, I don't know how many times, I said, sorry, I cannot keep you. Huh?
That's the same thing they did with
right.
me when they first moved. For me to change it from being 3 months to a year.
Yeah.
And when they had me change it from being 2,000 from 2,600 furnished with 2,000 unfurnished, they got it for 2,000 furnished. They had me switch up every single thing just because of fear. Right.
And I do think that was super gracious from you, because I mean, normally with that furnished, they should have paid on minimum 2,500 and you gave them 2,000. That's a big break. Especially with the backstory he told me about, he was paying 4,000, I think, before he moved to your house. Plus he got scammed on a lease option apparently as well. But here's the thing, Mrs. Tanya, all I was trying to do, me listening to him, is just to make this a smooth get out, him to move out without me dealing with anybody squatting in the house and now I have to evict. So I heard him, I heard this story. Right, I heard him, I heard this story, I sympathize with it. I told him, listen, anything extra as far as like on the personal level, Steve can testify to this. I said, you call Miss Tanya directly. He repeated over and over, no, I don't want to talk to her because I feel like she took advantage of me and my wife don't like talking to her. I'm not getting into that personal stuff because that's not what I'm trying to do. All I'm trying to do is keep my word with him. Yeah, keep my word with him as far as like him getting that $5,000 that you were so willingly to give him, which I told him. And then I said, that's it. I'm giving you 2 months on paper. That's what I'm giving you. And then I said, if you need extra, make sure you call me a few days before so I know. I promise I won't kick you out with your kids because that's not what I do. That's fine. But I again reminded him that I'm bringing money to the table. There's no way I'm keeping you here at $2,000. Even after that story made me so sad, I'm still not keeping you here at $2,000. And that's it. And we shook hands.
You know what I don't understand? Just to sum this all up. when you transfer your mail, I transfer my mail to my new house
Mhm.
in Oxford where I'm at, right?
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, any mail that comes to that house that does not say Timea,
Mhm.
it's just gonna come to that house. It's not gonna reroute to my new address. So anything that said Ernest, I can't forward Ernest mail because you need someone ID to forward the, what do you call it, to forward new mail
Mhm.
to a different address. So I go there to that house because I have to go buy fish. I normally go buy fish, goat meat to the market down the street from them. Every 3 weeks, I go to that house, see them, talk to them, and get my mail. I never, by the grace of God,
Mhm.
I would be struck to hell if I'm lying to you.
Mhm.
Never got any mail stating that my house is in foreclosure. Now, if he was aware of that,
Mhm.
shame on him for not even saying anything. And now you want to call Craig Wood because it got to this. What was the meaning of holding that information? Because you feared you have to leave instead of telling me so I could have dealt with this situation before it got to this.
So that
Shame
that
on him.
so
Because I collected my daughter, because my daughter mail still go there,
Mhm.
my cousin mail still go there,
Mhm.
and Mr. Fortune mail still go there. And even sometimes the ex-owner who was there, who sold me the house, her mail still comes there.
got
So
it.
I still go there every 3 weeks. Not even 3 weeks go by, Mamadou. I
Mhm.
promise you.
Mhm.
Every 3 weeks I go there, get my mail, ask them, do they need anything
Mhm.
for the filters, like drop off little, little things.
Right, little things.
Or just little things.
Right.
He not one time complained to me about nothing or giving me anything about foreclosure. If you was a tenant and you was so concerned, wouldn't you jump on the phone with the owner and say, hey,
100%.
do you know anything about this? Are we okay?
100%.
That would be a bypass for you to secretly keep it and then now complain that you've been getting it and you told me. That was a complete lie.
That's correct.
I don't
So
like
here
people Bible and then lie and then say anything. Why would my character, I have a whole, I'm in a house with a man who's an engineer.
Right.
And my dad, who's a police officer. I would have got me, my man, and my dad
Mhm.
the money
Mhm. Mhm.
to pay this. But because it happened at the last minute, it
Mhm.
was there, and it's all, I'm days away from auctioning.
Mhm.
Had to address this in a quick manner.
Right.
Sum up that money real quick and to move it.
Right.
That was unfair on his part. Now you want to cry work I wasn't honest, I wasn't transparent. Oh, I did. That was wrong.
That's
happy when they're happy. But when shit hit the fan and they gotta go or they didn't pay rent, oh, you the enemy, you the bad.
yeah, it's everybody's fault.
You everything in the book, but they loved you when everything was good. Now that it's not on their terms, they don't.
So I can tell you, which I can repeat in front of him because this is what we spoke about. Again, like I said, I just heard it. I sympathize, but I didn't judge, nor did I ask. What he said is he already sent you, I think, 1 or 2 piles of mail from the beginning. Third, he said you keep denying that the house is in foreclosure, even though he sent you the notices. No, I'm just letting you know what he told me so that you know my position. Like I said, I didn't sit there and judge or what. I just heard it. I'm like, okay, great. Then I got back to business. I said, listen, I sympathize. Your kids look fantastic. But again, just to remind you, I cannot keep you here as $2,000. Let's talk about the solution.
Right.
Okay?
Stephen knocked on the door.
Mhm.
You know when they told me about it? When Stephen knocked on the door, left a little note with his son or with him, I don't remember how it taken place. That's when they felt like they called me because they said the house was in auction. That's when they decided to tell me. And right when Stephen came out, I called Stephen the next day. Because I was at work and I didn't get off till 7 at night. And I called and actually the next following day say, hey, my tenant just told me that this is blah, 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 blah. I had no clue because I've been paying Mr. Fortune. That's exactly how it went.
Yeah.
My team never told me anything of that matter.
Yeah, it's Chris. It's the guy Chris. We don't know him, but it's the guy Chris that.
It's up under it's up under the water. Like I said, I'm upset more because of what my tenant and you see he's trying to play the both of us, and I'm not going to allow this because I don't want to give him ammunition or
absolutely
to try to manipulate you or to manipulate me or to manipulate this whole situation.
Yeah. Well, listen, here's the thing. It's very difficult to do that for me because I'm so used to it. Like I told you, I went through it myself. Not only that,